Hello everyone, I'm back with another video for you today, and I haven't made videos for a couple of days now. I've been preparing for various tournaments. There's another SVO qualifier. I played the one last week, did okay in it, but yeah, I haven't been having the time to discover new decks and, post and all this kind of thing. But I have recently found a very powerful, I think, new deck that I don't see that many people playing. It is Rose Queen Forestcraft. You can think of this a little bit like Azudia Control, but I have tried Azudia Control, and for me, that deck didn't feel that great. I think it's an okay deck, but yeah, if you've seen the tier list, I did put it in tier 4. It might be deserving of a little bit higher rating, but there are some matchups that are pretty tough. You know, things like Runecraft and whatnot, and Havencraft and things. I don't know. There's some struggles there. I feel like Rose Queen is a perhaps better version of that deck. For some matchups, you have less healing and less sort of powerful later game plays like the Congregant and the Deep Fairy, whatever, heal 9 mana card that deck has. But we are playing Rose Queen, so this gives us the ability to kill the opponent on turn 10 if we go first, or on turn 9 if we go second. We're going to be able to transform our hand into the Bramble Burst, which of course deal 3 damage. So if you have 7 1-drops or below, 7 1s or 0 cost cards, you're going to be able to deal 21 damage to the opponent the turn after Rose Queen. And that is a much earlier kill than with Control Forest, the typical Azudia control. So I think for that reason, this deck actually has some real potential, and I will be playing it in the SVO upcoming. I'll let you know how that goes, presumably, but yeah, we just play a lot of 1-drops, so May, Bugler, Ambush, Eradicating, all the 1-drops, basically. We are free to play these out in the early game to just deal with what the opponent's doing, of course, if we want to do that, if we want to preserve our health. You've got Fairy Fencer for a similar reason, but later in the game, when we're drawing these 1-drops, we can then, of course, just transform them all with Rose Queen. So it works very nicely, and it never feels like I'm missing copies of 1 costs in the late game for that Rose Queen. We also have a lot of thinning now with Hamlet of Unkilling. This card is really, really powerful in these kind of control decks. Of course, it draws you 2 cards through your deck. You can also get rid of any of the bricks in your hand, so it's particularly good in Rose Queen when we need to clear hand space for, the likes of those 1-cost cards. So we can get rid of our, Grimnir if we aren't going to play him, Gilnelis if we don't need the healing. These kind of cards can be great targets, perhaps a second Rose Queen if we need to get rid of it. So we've got the Hamlet there, we've got the Garden's Allure to do a similar thing. So both of these cards can get rid of the junk in our hand and essentially make room for the 1-cost cards. So these are really nice additions. You can also play Bug Alert onto the Hamlet of Unkilling to draw even further through your deck and perhaps discard even more junk from your hand. So that's really nice. Additionally, we can also give -2 health to an enemy unit with this, so this can basically set up future value, which we can then use to have a bigger tempo swing when we play Rose Queen, so that we're not in danger of being killed by the opponent. That's sort of a reason we have Grimnir in here, is for that super evolved turn, perhaps on the Rose Queen, clear the board, use the Hamlet to clean up any extra units. Can be very, very useful to have the Grimnir against Abysscraft in particular. Playing the wide boards can be very useful to stop yourself from getting overwhelmed when you do need to be playing that Rose Queen. And then aside from that, we've got Titania, of course. Very important cards I've got 3 of in the deck. Just to get the consistent fairy generation, which is going to allow us to quite easily find the Rose Queen combo. So quite often you will have 8 cards in hand on turn 8 or 9 or whenever you're about to play Rose Queen, and you can just allow that Titania to come into hand. You don't really mind burning cards in this deck once you have a Rose Queen in your hand. So there's some very interesting ways that you can sort of manipulate the hand size and make sure that you have all of those 1-cost cards. We've also got Glade in the deck, of course, for more card draw, consistency, and a good evolve effect. Gilnelis, as I already mentioned, a nice addition to this deck to be able to give us some survivability. I was experimenting with running Lily instead of this for more consistency, but I don't think you need it. I think you have enough card draw with all of the other tools that we have here, provided you mulligan, reasonably well. You need to try to find at least probably one of either Hamlet or Glade or Titania, maybe even a couple of those to really get your card draw engine going and just begin cycling through the deck, finding Rose Queen, etc. So yeah, I'm a big fan of this deck. I think it has some really decent matchups. Swordcraft can probably be hard, anything that's particularly aggressive, because you don't have a huge amount of healing. Havencraft may be a little bit tricky, but we now have Gilnelis to help that matchup heal a bit, and we should be able to lethal people, particularly if we go second. This deck is deadly. Killing on turn 9 is quite early for sure. So with that being said, let's get into some games and see how we can do. Okay, we've got a bit of Portalcraft. Forgive my low ranking, by the way. I've just been testing a lot of stuff, including Tempo Forest even. I think in this matchup we're going to need Gil and Elise, because they can be very, very aggressive in the early game. I will mulligan the ones, though. Portalcraft is a bit scary, to be honest, if we don't manage to sort of stem the, the bleeding, deal with the aggression. And I think the heals will be very important in this matchup, so going to hold on to Gil Release. Okay, this is certainly a play. Not entirely what I was expecting. I'm going to coin out Fairy Fencer here, I think. I don't want to take too much damage early on. And Fencer into May is a good, solid early game line to preserve the health and deal with any aggression. Perhaps we can even aggress on them a little bit with the Fairy Fencers. Killing their own 1-1, okay. Interesting plays. We've got Hamlet, so that's quite nice. We'll be able to dig through the deck in a pretty efficient manner, I should imagine. Probably just still going Fairy Fairy May here, though, to maintain pressure. And, dealing damage to eggs probably won't matter, but it might be the case that we induce them to do something suboptimal, just by nature of them being lower health. But we'll see. So Hamlet here, potentially quite a good move. Drawings, they haven't found eggs yet, I guess, is what that means. So maybe Hamlet Eradicating could be the play. Get rid of the May, draw through the deck. I won't get rid of the Rose Queen. It's sort of important that we have that just in case we need it. But yeah, we need to find the cards. Okay, Titania is good. I'll play my Eradicating Arrow. And there's an argument to just Evo and go, a little bit on the aggressive, go a little aggressive here. Not sure I like it, though. I think we're probably not going to be able to kill them before Rose Queen anyway. And I'd rather preserve my Evos for Gil Elise and Titania and this kind of thing. Plus, they're probably going to have a... I was going to say they'd have a decent turn 5 with Lashena, but apparently not. Maybe this is a game where we could just go face and win. In reality. Now I sort of regret not using the Evo because it would have proactively helped to deal with their Evo, but hey ho, we can Evo Titania. This should still be an okay line of play. Go with that. And question is, yeah, I think we just get rid of this guy, trade off, bang bang. Don't really care about the early damage because we're just going for that sort of kill with the Rose Queen. We are also going second, so we can go for an earlier Rose Queen kill, which is really good. And maybe we don't even need a full hand of ones if their health is already reduced, although that's something I'm never going to gamble on with this particular version of Rose Queen. We are quite happy to go for the, the big combo, really. Okay, Jeravane, interesting. Grimnir is quite cool. I would like to not take damage to these guys if at all possible. It might be a Gilnelis just to, prevent the sort of aggression. Could also, I suppose, be Grimnir and Garden's Allure. And maybe just Super Evolve to clear the board. Haven't really taken much damage yet. It's not that scary. Let's fuse a Rose Queen. We know for sure we're not going to use that. I think I'm going to draw cards either way here. Perhaps we can find something a bit better. Yeah, maybe Eradicating Arrow could be okay here with the Grimnir, and maybe we just use the Hamlet and hold on to our Evos, basically. I think I'm okay with that. We'll use the Hamlet, which is like a little bit dodgy, perhaps, but I think I'm in a solid spot. We've got Gilnelis next turn. Actually, it's going to be hard to get the 1-drops, I think, particularly after playing that one. But okay, Gilnelis can heal us back up after a nasty little Odin play. That's okay, and I could do double Gilnelis, to be honest. I think that's fine. Just for maximum 7 heal. That being said, I might need to stall another turn. I'm not sure the Rose Queen next turn will be good enough. Perhaps we could Evo it and bring it back. I don't think that's quite right. Perhaps just a chill Super Evo. Even a normal Evo here actually seems quite reasonable. And I think, yeah, I don't think next turn we'll have enough to go with the Rose Queen. Maybe we will, but I'll just play it chill for now. And we can probably do one more turn, basically, a Gilnelis, to make sure that Titania gets us enough ones. We didn't quite get enough card draw to be able to do Rose Queen on 8, I think, here. We could maybe do it, but it's usually good not to risk things So if we're not 100% sure we can lethal them, then you know, a good idea to wait one turn just to do it a bit later, but guarantee the kill. But let's see. If we draw a 1-drop, we have 5 ones, so that's 15 damage. I think it's safer to wait one more turn, to be honest, and just go Gilnelise, heal up. We did draw Fairy Convocation, so this will give us a guaranteed, you know, good amount of, you know, 7, which is basically lethal. So, yeah, we're going to play the Gilnelise. It's quite an interesting deck because you play it very differently to everything else. That's one of the things I really like about, you know, Rose Queen. We're just not really caring about our Evo usage. We can throw those out willy-nilly, and yeah, quite an effective game. We even dealt a lot of damage in the early game. The opponent didn't really do anything, but then again, hopefully this does showcase at least power of this deck. Very uninteractive, just able to kill the opponent, and we even have the Grimnir Crest and everything. It's just really not much the opponent can do here, I think. We're going to have 9/9 Ward, which also demands an Odin to get through at minimum, I think. They have used 2 Odins already, so I think the chance they can kill us here is minuscule, really. The Gilnelise healing, quite important though, to be fair. Things could get a bit dicey without that. As you see, my health is pretty low, and I did heal 9 this game, so you definitely need it for this matchup, without a doubt. But yeah, Odin here required, and I don't think they have enough, even with an Odin plus, I don't know, Dogged one. It's not going to be enough, right? We're going to be 1 health. So potentially closer than it seemed, but yeah, eggs are a little bit scary into this deck, honestly. Not the easiest matchup necessarily, but when you've got Gilnelises, it's all okay. And I think that's why she has to be a 3-of in the deck, to be honest. Quite important. They're going to try to survive, but we've got 21 damage. You cannot survive this. It is impossible. That's why I like this deck a lot, to be honest, and why I will play it in tournament. I just think it has a lot of games where you just simply win. There's not really much counterplay, you know, particularly against slower decks. You are performing quite an early, you know, early lethal, really. Surprisingly strong. So now we have to do our playing out a million brambles, which is always a little bit tedious for me, but a win is a win. And we can go into another game. Very good. First game. Not the strongest of decks or opponents, but let's see what we can do for the next one. Okay, Dragoncraft. Now this actually is probably the one really bad matchup. More so than even Swordcraft. I forgot to mention, but basically Dragon has the Feline, and Feline is a good card, it turns out. She can really mess you up. I might just keep Double Blade. It's actually kind of a solid hand. We can coin into them. And it gives me a lot of card draw here. Nice early game as well. But yeah, Dragon is a real problem. We probably need to get their health down to 15 so that we can kill with Bramble Bursts even after a Feline, making them more expensive. You can have 5 of those at 10 mana, but yeah, it's not a good matchup if they are aware of the Feline interaction with Rose Queen. Kind of hard counters my deck. But potentially they'll not even be playing that card, or they'll be playing a more aggro-y deck, I don't know. Let's find out. Hamlet is potentially a play here on turn 3, kind of nice. But we are getting a little bit aggressive look from the Orca. Maybe we just go Fairy and Convocation here, just to make sure I don't take early game damage. I know I said pushing damage would be important, but honestly, what would playing a Fencer do? I could play Fencer and Fairy, but I think Coin and Glade is going to be good, particularly if there are uninteractive Intimidate units on the board, which there may be if they're playing Blade. Not necessary, I suppose, but not entirely necessary. Okay, May is a nice draw. We can just go Fairy, Fairy, May. Of course. Happy I can deal with this without taking damage. That's very good. And 1 Feline gone, so hopefully, you know, if we see all the Felines or they don't get to play the Feline into Rose Queen, then it's very good for me for sure. Okay, we could coin the Glade. We could also just Hamlet. I sort of like Fairy Fencer into Hamlet here as a potential line. Just hold both Glades and develop the Hamlet. I think it's probably a good way to do it. And I will get rid of the Fairy here. Already found Rose Queen, so that's cool. Do we want to use an Evo? Probably not. We have right now 3 potential Evo targets, and while it would be nice to push damage, they can probably just heal back up with Neptune anyway. I'm not sure about this. It could arguably be correct to just to to Evo. I'm not 100% on that. Okay, Galmia is a little bit annoying. Gonna be able to clear with it. Probably would have preferred to see a, you know, what do you call him? The other guy, Merman. I think it's time for Titania, to be honest. They've got 1 unit, so we can deal with that effectively, and let's perhaps get rid of the 1-drop here. I think that's going to be okay. They've got the board clear anyway, so we'll do that. We could bug alert Hamlet, but I don't think we need to, because we've got another one in hand. We've got a lot of card draw already. And I just want to begin generating 1s now for the potential Rose Queen. Maybe we can go with an early Rose Queen here, depending on how things shape up for us. We need to kind of get rid of cards from the hand, so it might be a Hamlet turn. We've basically got turn 6 and turn 7 to do things, so maybe next turn a Glade, the turn after Hamlet to get rid of Glade, this kind of thing. And we'll see what kind of stuff we get. Okay, just Odin coming down. Might need Gilnelise to help me to survive against some aggression, but yeah, we play Glade here, I think. There's an argument to play maybe play a fairy because we're going to overdraw, but honestly, not sure about that. Next time we've got Hamlet plus Titania to thin the hand out. We probably just want to draw a 1-drop. It's going to be better than, you know, like the best thing we can draw here is going to be worse, if that makes sense. Let's just normal Evo for now, I think. We can go Super Evo Titania as the follow-up. A little bit scary here, but they don't have many cards in hand, and they did already play a Feline, so I'm somewhat optimistic that they won't have Feline to deal with my, you know, my shenanigans here. Nice thing about Fairy Fencer in this deck is you can just Super Evolve and turn it into a 1-drop, so it's kind of a quasi 1-drop, really important card in this deck. You know, it represents a good card. So right now we have 4, 5, so we need, well, we get 1 more from Titania, so we just need to find 1-1-drop from Hamlet, which is very doable. Of course, the benefits of running so many 1s in the deck is we're most likely going to find one. Even a Fairy Fencer would be fine as well. And we'll be able to coin out Rose Queen for a nice turn 9 lethal, provided we're not dying. I mean, my health is pretty low. They're not quite. Gosh, this is scary. Okay, and I mean, I don't know if we can survive this. We don't have Gilnelise optionality, really, unless they leave that on the board, but yeah, this is pretty terrifying. I might just be dead to the aggro, in all honesty. We are going to have to go with the Hamlet now. That's fine. And like I said, we're getting rid of Glade to play the Titania, get the chunky cards out of the hand. We drew the 1-drop, so we do have the potential here to, you know, play that Rose Queen next turn, which is all good. You can always trigger the Hamlets, by the way, even if there's no enemy unit. So I might just be dead to the aggro here, very possible. I would not be too surprised. But we've got early Rose Queen, so the deck's sort of performing as it should, but yeah, we're dead here. Unfortunately, didn't quite have Gilnelise this game, and Dragon can be tough, for sure. Quite an aggressive deck as well. So yeah, we take a loss, unfortunately. But definitely not a matchup I'm trying to beat with this deck. Alright, should we go for another game? A little bit sad, we probably could have won that game had I drawn my Gilnelise, you know, on time, but no worries. No worries, we'll go to the next game. So a bit of Abysscraft. Glade is going to be a keep, as always. I'll get rid of Allures, not really doing anything early game. And perhaps we could keep Convocation. I don't hate it. I don't love it either, though. I mean, I don't hate it. I don't love it. I don't hate it. I don't love it. I want to find Titania, so I think I will mulligan here. And Grimnir and all the rest. Okay, good stuff. Grimnir, very important in this matchup as well. I don't really care so much about trying to find early game cards, although I might regret that here if this is aggro. Oh no. Okay, let's go ahead and play at Garden's Allure. Do I fuse it to another Garden's Allure? Probably. Probably yes. We need to draw here, I think. Generally, drawing cards quite good. Let's see if we can survive. We do have Gilnelise, but aggro is a bit scary. I'm not even sure what this is exactly. What flavor of aggro we're up against. I'll play my Grimnir on time, and then we've got some kind of eradicating arrow to clean this up, hopefully, before the Evos come, which could be nice. A little bit annoying that I have to play my 1-drops, but that's sort of what they're there for. The potential to clean up the aggression, and if not, the ability to turn them into Bramble Bursts. Okay, a pretty positive result for us there. They didn't really do much of anything, actually. So the question is, you know, is this mid-rangey? Mid-rangey kind of? They probably wouldn't play Bonemancer if they were not doing some kind of mid-range shenanigans, right? So, interesting. I guess we'll play Fairy Convocation. We want to Glade soon, so let's just create an environment where that makes sense to do. Perhaps a May and a Bugler. May, I think, could be okay here. I'll just retain that May, which might be useful at some point. Arguably Fairy is even better. May can be slightly awkward sometimes. Okay, so far so good. They're actually playing quite slowly. I was worried they'd be aggro and I would be in danger, but so far we're not really under much threat. I think we probably still play Glade. We want to find more card draw, and we don't have Titania yet. There she is. I could just Evo this. Turn 6 and Evo, turn 7 and Evo, turn 8 and Evo. I think we get away with not Evoing here. Yes, they have a skeleton on board, can chip a bit of damage, but we've got Gilnelise to heal, so I'm not that afraid, and doesn't feel like the most valuable Evo here. I think we'll want to play, you know, Evos for the rest of the game, basically. Turn 6, 1, turn 7, turn 8, and finally the Rose Queen turn. Should be good. Okay, this is a bit scary, but I think Titania should be able to clear it up. Of course, they're probably going to Evo and deal with Glade, right? But Titania, May should be good enough. Question is, do we get rid of the skeleton or the ghost? I think getting rid of the ghost is probably better. So what have we got exactly? It looks like Titania, Fairy, May. So this gets cleaned up. Yeah, I mean, it should be more than good enough. And I think we get rid of the ghost. I'd rather they have just a random unit as opposed to the potential to deal face damage. So this is very good in this matchup. We are able to effectively sort of nullify their Cerberus. So that's very cool. And yeah, we can fully clear. A solid play. I do have a Rose Queen in hand, which is not ideal. Kind of brick when we've already got one. So we'll hopefully find a way to get rid of that, or just hopefully perhaps not need to worry too much about it being in hand. Right, what do we do here? We've got another Titania possibility. Okay, Garden's Allure helps with the Rose Queen. We can't play the Rose Queen just yet, so I think, you know, we could play this board with a Super Evolve. That's definitely an option. Perhaps we want to play Gilnelise this turn, honestly. Gilnelise heal, maybe Titania. I mean, I like denying the Cerberus value. It does feel quite good if we give them a lot of these, you know, crappy guys. So perhaps... tricky. We definitely confuse a Rose Queen. That's not going to be a good play. I think we play Titania. It seems good value before the Cerberus comes down. And now, do we Super Evolve is the question. Do we Super Evolve? If we go here, we go trade. Like, I could clear this without using a Super Evolve. It seems a little bit... I think I will do it without a Super, because Gilnelise Super is strong, particularly into a Cerberus play. Yeah, this just looks pretty good to me, doesn't it? I think I'll go with this, and we can do an Eradicating as well to clear. Okay. Next turn, Glade and Gilnelise. It could get a little bit awkward if I draw badly here, to be fair. We'll see what's going on. Okay. Charon. It's a little bit tedious, but not the end of the world, I think. We can always Glade it down. And I think the Gilnelise, or even Hamlet, is going to be better here, right? Because we don't really need that healing right now. So we've got Glade. We'll play Glade, and we'll play Hamlet, I think. Okay, it's not too bad. I think we've got enough cards here to be okay. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 with the thing. Is there some other way I can do it? Not really. So I will just Evo this, of course. Trade the zombie off. It's going to die to the Grimnir. And we can play the Hamlet on a Gilnelise. I'm just hoping I draw 1/1 drop. I think then we're good to go, basically. Or even, I guess we needed 2, actually. Because I do have that 1 brick. So a little bit awkward, but in the end we're okay. Just about getting there. The nature of having all the ones in the deck. I did misplay that actually. I should have played the Hamlet first in case I draw Fairy Fencer. So keep in mind that was a pretty big mistake actually. I'm not punished for it, but it's hard to, you know, think of these like very nuanced moves sometimes, at least for me. I'm not always completely aware. Okay. We should be okay here. We can clear with the good old Grimnir. This is why Grimnir is so important, because it really helps you in this particular matchup to deal with, you know, the sideboards on the turn you play Rose Queen. Really important. I'm glad I didn't use, you know, both Super Evos. That would have been bad. And we've got the Hamlet here to deal with this, so it just worked perfectly. Very nice. 20 damage from hand, a 9/9 ward on the board. I don't think I'm dying here. No Evos for the opponent, so we should be good to take another win. Definitely this deck just feels like it creates checkmate scenarios quite often where you just can't lose, basically. Especially with the healing from Gilneas. I think that's why we lost the last game, we just were lacking that. Quite important aspect, but yeah, you can definitely do a lot with this deck. Medusa, that's not very scary at all. And we can go and burst them down. Very, very nice. And I think people, I mean, in general, people are unaware of how easy it can be, honestly, to get the 7 1-drops in the hand with Rose Queen. Like, it's really not a big issue with Titania and all this stuff in the game. We even have Gilneas as well as the backup finisher, kind of, but I don't think we're ever using it for that in this deck. Anyway, a nice win. Let's go for another game. Okay, true challenge for the deck, a bit of Runecraft. I think this matchup's great, particularly if we go second. So, you know, I think it's almost an auto win if you go second, almost. Maybe that's a little bit pushing it, but let's mulligan the 1-drop, we don't really need that, and probably Allure can go as well. I like Double Glade, that's quite a good hand, especially going second. As we already stated, just having these card draw. Previously I only played 1, but I think it should be okay. And yeah, Runecraft, they don't really threaten you very much early game, so for that reason, quite an okay matchup. We can play a Bug Alert out if we so you know, Ambush rather, just to not take too much damage. That's probably one of the main concerns, is if they do get a lot of tempo with Norman and, you know, the Anangria and all this stuff could be kind of a bit spooky. So we want to avoid taking a huge amount of early game damage. Garden's Allure could be quite good here. I'll probably get rid of Bug Alert, and we'll just dig through the deck a bit. That's perfectly fine to do. I could just play Eradicating Arrow, but I think Good Fairy might be a little bit better. We can push damage here, it's going to be kind of cool. And we don't lose a 1-drop by playing this, we sort of retain a 1-drop in hand, which might be relevant. Can go with Glade next, into another Glade. But yeah, we just want to dig the deck, make sure we find our Rose Queen, and perhaps Titania on time. This is perfectly cleared by a Glade, very nice, there's Rose Queen. I just find this deck so consistent, because you have so much card draw now. You have 9 card draw cards which draw 2, and you essentially have 3 additional with the Bug Alerts that can be used to draw cards if you need, so it just feels like, I don't know man, like this deck's just so crazy, honestly. I don't know if you're quite feeling the power of it from the gameplay. Like, maybe it doesn't look that impressive, but I don't know. So often it just feels like you win. This could be a scary development, though. They are actually playing Earth as opposed to, you know, the typical Runecraft stuff. So a little bit troubling. Perhaps we can go Fairy, Hamlet, and Ambush here to deal with stuff. I'm not sure. Do I need the Gilneas? Do I need the Glade? I might get rid of Gilneas. I'm a bit scared about the tempo they can output. But then again, if I've got the Glade, it should be okay to discard her, I think. Hope I don't come to regret this. We've got another one. Okay, that's cool. We'll ambush to kill that. And yeah, we haven't really taken damage here, so quite okay. Perhaps Norman could be annoying, but for now, just all according to plan. We really do want to make sure we get 1s, though. We don't have Titania here, so we might need to manage our hand a little bit more carefully than we might otherwise normally do. There is an argument to certainly draw more cards here. I think Glade plus, you know, an Eradicating could be an option. Just thin, more thinning. I could also even Evo this. since we're Rose Queening quite soon, I don't really want to use the one drop if I can afford it. We've got 3, 4, 5, 6. So next turn we can, you know, we can guarantee good things. I could play the 1, but yeah, I think I like evoing here. Next turn going an evo Gilnelis to hopefully clean up whatever they do, and the turn after the Rose Queen should be good. This is sort of a proactive move. I guess I could have played Good Fairy. I should play Good Fairy there probably. That's a slight mistake. Yeah, sorry. This deck just is so outside the box. I feel like I quite often make mistakes with it because the correct plays are just like a little bit unintuitive at times. I hope it's not too much of a problem, guys. I do apologize for my errors. So it would have been nice to have the 1-drop on board, maybe to get them to play another card out. I don't think it matters too much. But... Okay, this is perfectly fine. We have a very solid answer with Gilnelis, and I think they're just going to be way too slow to kill us. Which is sort of the idea. That is why I'm playing the deck. We burned the card, that is good. We burned the bad card. So we can just Gilnelis, and that will be all she wrote pretty much. Would be good now to maybe play the Good Fairy to have a you know, a bit more presence on the board. We can afford to do that. I'll play an Allure at this point, no problem. Since we have the Fairy Convocation. I suppose I don't want to play into Odin, to be honest. That's actually a lose condition, so I will just play Convo and chill. Make sure I have all the cards. I could play the Good Fairy, but if they Odin it, it's actually kind of bad. So I'm going to chill and just play my Rose Queen next turn. Very early Rose Queen. But you see, we didn't even need Titania this game. With the amount of card draw we have, it's just... It's kind of all good in the hood. They're going to Evo this. That's perfectly fine. Yeah, Lilanthin not doing anything, but, you know, Quan... Normal Runecraft also would not do anything to beat us here. Like, it's really a free win. There's no way to stop the Rose Queen. She is too powerful. We can even kill with 6 right now, so they need to heal. And even that's not going to be enough. We've got 21 damage in hand. Yeah, very, very good. I mean, this deck just farms a lot of stuff, to be honest. And I know we've not played against the most top-tier decks, but in theory you should be quite favoured into Abysscraft, normal Runecraft. Havencraft I think is okay. If you play it correctly, it's okay. It's not a huge problem either. Dragon is hard, Sword is probably reasonably hard. Those are the tough matchups, but I think this deck is very formidable. I will bring it in the tournament, as I said, because I think it's a great tournament deck as well. And I think just sort of a better version of Azudio. So I do recommend you try it, to be honest. If you're a Forest fan, maybe don't craft the cards, I mean... But if you're a fan of Forest, I think this is a very good option. I think, honestly, it might even be the strongest Forest deck. I'm sort of fairly confident saying that. Some version of Rose Queen, probably. I like my version a lot. I think it's very consistent. I hope that gives a good showcase for the deck. Yeah, I mean, it's just strong. Like you just murder people, and they don't even know probably how to beat this, right? They've never even played against it. You got the surprise factor on your side as well. People maybe expect you to be Tempo Forest or some other build control forest. They don't expect you're going to kill them on turn 9. Very powerful stuff. Anyhow, that being said, guys, thank you very much for watching. Do try this deck. I think it's very strong. I think you could climb to quite a high score with this. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Subscribe as always for more videos. And yeah, bye-bye.